Hey, I'm Sue Landay. I'm from Trainers Warehouse. This is Show and Share. And today we have with us Dan Yeaman from Learningware, and he's going to demo his Gameshow Pro software, which he's made oodles of updates on. It integrates beautifully with several Trainers Warehouse products. And we wanted to share this with you. So, brief introduction. Dan and I have been working together. I've been at Trainers Warehouse 30 plus years, probably 25. I don't know. It's been a long time. I don't know. I haven't counted. But Dan, why don't you take it away from there?
Great. You want me to start? Yeah. Thank you. I am going to share my screen and talk about Game Show Pro. And let me make sure I share sound and Game Show Pro. Here we go. Game Show Pro is really designed for trainers. It was written with training in mind. And what it lets you do is create unlimited number of game shows among different formats of games. And it's content free. So you just go ahead and create the questions and answers, load them into the program, and then the program is a very easy way for you to create the game. So what I'm going to do, let me do one thing here and move this over here. So we're going to play a couple games that are in here. Altogether, there are three games, and we've got a fourth game coming out. By the way, was it um Pat? You are with the water.
Yes.
Is that are you familiar with American Waterworks Association, AWW? Are you?
Yes.
The game that we have here is inspired for a game we created for Awa. And
Wow.
they're using it now at their national convention during their games. It's called the Top Ops, if you're familiar with that.
No.
So I'll show you that too, but it was a coincidence that you happen to be there. Also, is that if you're doing safety training, Game Show Pro comes with libraries of safety training for the OSHA 10
Oh, great.
construction. So we have some questions that you could go ahead and pull and get running really quickly. But we're going to play a couple games right now, and all of you are going to play along. Sue and Bob and Sarah, I think you've seen these questions, so feel free to act dumb just for the other ones that haven't. So we're going to start off by actually jumping into playing a game.
So we
And
shouldn't like yell out the answers really fast or anything like that.
no, you shouldn't do that. But what I'm going to do is at the same time, I am going to switch screens. So if you can imagine in your training room, you've got a big screen that everybody's looking at. I'm on my laptop and I control the game from my laptop while the other screen is being displayed. So let me display this other screen real quickly. And do you see all play SmackDown?
Hmm.
Now, the only other thing you're going to need is your phone. Because what I'm going to do is we are going to play online and I'm going to be bringing up a QR code. So if you could go ahead and just scan in your QR code and log in. Now, I haven't decided what teams you're on, so I'm going to let you decide. Uh, Let me take a look at this. What do we have?
Oh, the engagers and the motivators.
Yeah, why don't we have everyone from Trainers Warehouse be the engagers and everyone not be the motivators? If it's not too late.
Fair enough.
So we've got one, two, three, four so far. How many people on this call?
One, two, three, four, five.
Five.
It's like nine, including you.
How many?
We should have about eight. Nine, including you, I think.
Okay. So we got five people logged in. Maybe some people are on their phone so they can't get a chance to play this,
Yeah.
but we'll give a couple more minutes, a couple seconds rather. And let's go. Okay, we got five people in. Let's go right into the game. And this is called the All Play SmackDown. Now, this slide here is customizable. Everything you see is customizable. Okay, so here's what's going to happen on your phone. Your phone is going to turn into buttons when it's time for you to go ahead and answer the questions. And what you have to do is click on the answer and then lock it in. Okay. And the first round is going to be people. We're just going to play 2 or 3 questions. Then I'm going to show you how I'm controlling the game from my end. But here's the first question. Name the Beatle who was awarded his own set of stamps in England. Was it John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Ringo Starr, or George Harrison? Go ahead and vote. And you're not hearing sound. It's a glitch right now. But go ahead and vote. We got 5 people in. We're going to close it. Normally you'd be hearing music. My computer isn't set up for that. I apologize for some reason.
Sometimes Zoom like blocks that out anyway.
But yeah, I know. So the correct answer is Paul McCartney. Now I can see 80% of you got it right. And what you're going to be seeing here are the team scores going up based on the correct answer per team. Okay. And let's take a look. And we see that everyone from the non-Trainers Warehouse got it right, whereas 67% of the engagers got that correct. So that right now the score is 67 to 100. Let's see, who is on the engagers? Can I hear a woo? Okay. Who's on the motivators?
Woo!
There you go. Good job. So I can see Yvette and Rob. Okay, so we're going to go to the next question. This is about Star Trek. Now, what you're seeing here is an info screen. You can have as many of these into your game as you want, and it gives you a chance to introduce the question. And also, after the question, you can add more context. So that's where the learning comes in. Here's the question. Name the actor who played the original Commander Spock. Was it Leonard Nimoy, William Shatner, or George Takei? I'm going to open up the polling. Go ahead and vote. No zooming. Okay, the correct answer is, we'll wait. All of you voted in, and the correct answer is Leonard Nimoy. Let's take a look and see how that did with the scores. And motivators edged out on that one. So the score is engagers 117 to 167. So with that, I am going to move over to the screen that I've been using to control it. So do you see my control screen now?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
Great. I'm going to bring up this view right here. This is a preview of what the audience or what your students would be looking at. So we built this in so in case you don't have a second monitor and you still want to see what's going on, you can do it like if you're rehearsing on a plane or in a hotel or wherever. So let's go now to the next question. Now, here are the teams right now, how you guys have scored here. And these are the buttons that I use to control it. Now I'm going to go and show that all of you, this is who is playing right now. So I'm just going to go to the next question. And I ask you to look here, and that is the name of the shapewear company that was founded by Sarah Blakely. Is it Thintrest, Form Fit, Spanx, or Under Armour? But when I open up the polling, watch what happens over here and go ahead and vote. You see that it's all red, but as you begin to vote, it is turning green. And that's how I know that you've gone ahead and registered. All of you done it. I'm going to close the poll. The correct answer is Spanx. Wow, all of you got it right. I think this is the first time I've had everybody get it right. Now, congratulations.
Hey.
That's impressive. Did you have a question? No. Okay, we're going to add to the scores. Now, here's the thing. You don't have to show the answer every time. You have that control. So it could become an assessment. So you can just show question after question after question, and people can go ahead and answer. And Gameshow Pro records all the responses. So at the end, you can get a good learning graph of how everybody is doing. Okay. We also have things built in like a raffle. So anybody who answered the last question correctly is in the raffle. And we're going to see who wins this raffle. And congratulations, it is BK.
All right, Bob.
We didn't give you anything, but it's yours. So, and that's it. The other thing you can do is you have a leaderboard where you can see how all the scores. So you don't even need to have teams. You can have people doing it. Are there any questions about this before I jump into a new game?
Do we want to see like, or maybe you'll get to this later, like how you built the game with the PowerPoint and stuff like
Yes.
that, or should we do that later?
We can do that on the next game.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go
So
ahead.
on your raffle, can you use that raffle more than once? And if you do, will it eliminate people who have already been awarded?
It will not eliminate them, but what you can do is run the raffle again.
Okay.
So if you go to raffle, you can just keep on doing it again and again if you want. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Uh,
Rob has
go
a
ahead.
question also.
Is it limited only 2 teams? Can we have 3 or 4 playing at the
You
same
can have
time?
up to 5 teams. You can have between 0 and 5 teams. And the reason why we only limit it to 5 is because there's something that amazing happens when you have groups of, let's say, 4 or 5 people per team, or 10 people or 15. I mean, you can do hundreds. We do this at events with 400 or 500 people, but it's as the bars go up, when one stops and the other one continues, that group just breaks out in cheers. So, 5 is a really what we recommend is the max. Okay. Any other questions? I'm sorry I missed that.
I think we're good. Keep going.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Mhm.
Let's quit out of here. And we're going to create a new game. Now, the questions are created in PowerPoint and then exported into Gameshow Pro. And I'm just going to quickly show you. We'll go to a categories game. We'll just call this Trainer's Warehouse. And what it's going to do is launch PowerPoint. So let's go. First thing I want to do is enable content. That's weird. Hold on.
Do you have one already created that we could see the PowerPoint file of?
Yeah, I do. In fact, let me open that up. Actually, PowerPoint's frozen on me. I wonder if it's because of that I'm on Zoom. Let me open up PowerPoint here. Here is, we will done close this PowerPoint. Yeah, let me show you. Well, here's an example of a PowerPoint program here. And what you can do is there's a tab here, Gameshow Pro, and it lets you import questions. Like if you want to import questions from Excel, you can do that. But if I click here to the question formats, these are the different formats of the questions you can have. Can you see that clearly?
Can you enlarge your screen so we can zoom?
I can make that big.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. So let's create a question right now that will be just the text only. So I can go, why did the chicken cross the road? And the answer is get on the other side, right? So that right now, I just created a question. But let's say I wanted to have a picture of a chicken show up. I click on here and I can now drop and paste a picture in here. Does that make sense? So I could put in a chicken or whatever. But let's say I wanted to turn into a multiple choice question. I can click here and have between 2 and 6 answers. So I click 3 answers, and now I can go ahead and fill it out, and it'll be a multiple choice question. And the way that you indicated, why not all of the above? And the way that you indicate what is the correct answer is by putting an asterisk in front of the question. And so when you export it, it will strip out the asterisk and turn that field green like you saw in the previous game. Now, by the way, in that game, which I showed you, the all play game, if I didn't have an asterisk, it would be treated like a poll question. Okay, so if you want to do surveys in between the game, in between your presentation, you can do it. And a lot of people, by the way, are using all play in a lunch and learn situation. They bring them in for the lunches, and because you can put in your PowerPoints into the actual game, you can run the whole thing from within Gameshow Pro. So you have a couple slides, and hey, let's create a couple questions here. And then you just create this wholly engaging lunch and learn situation or training, whatever. We will go ahead and help you. Now, the other thing which I must mention is that I co-wrote a book with my creative director called I'll Take Learning for 500, and it's all about using game shows. So if you ever have any questions and you don't want to read the book, which I would not recommend, you should read the book, you can certainly give us a call. We'd be happy to answer any questions. So did this explain it? And then the final thing you do is you can export the question file, and Gameshow Pro will import it.
And then how do you put them in by category? Is that pretty straightforward?
Yeah, then you would be using a different template.
Okay.
And each game has its own template. There's one that's called categories, and there are categories, and you can see it through its.
Oh, so this is just the all play where basically it's just a running list of questions.
Yeah,
Okay.
you don't see the categories here. But let's go into let's create a new game now, and let's create a categories game. So we'll just call this categories. And what I'm going to do is see right here, it says select the PDF file. I could import the PDF file that I just created in PowerPoint, but I've got sample questions built into the game. So if you wanted to, hit the ground running, you can use our questions. And right now what it's doing is it's loading in the PDF from the questions from the PowerPoint. And here they are. And you can click on it and you can see these questions. Okay. So all these were printed in PowerPoint. So the first thing we're going to do is fill in the categories. I'll just do it. Nerd knowledge. This is arts. And this is sports. Now, the other thing you can do is you can limit the size of the game. So if I only wanted to do something with 3 categories and let's say 4 questions for something short, I can do it that way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we can have up to 5 teams. We are going to go with who wants to be on a team?
Let's all be on teams.
What's that?
We can all be on teams.
Sure. What we need to do then, what I'm going to do just for the sake, I'll go with 3 teams. You're going to have to self-select and do it so that there's an even distribution. But we'll go north, south, and west. So who wants to be on the north team? Just self-identify right now.
Hello, Melanie.
Okay, and who else? Now you'll see when the time comes. Okay, John, you're going to be there. Who
Yvette.
wants to be on? I just saw John raise his hand. That's brilliant. Who wants to be on the south team?
I can be on the South team. Let's see that.
Okay, Yvette, and anyone else?
So,
Sue. And then who wants to be on the west team?
Sarah.
Sarah. And who else is missing?
um,
Okay, great. So remember what it is. What we're going to do is just jump. I just want to do one last check here. We're going to do manual, and we're just going to jump in and play the game. And with that, I am now all of you are going to be playing by ringing in using your phones. So I am going to be switching screens. Just 1 second. And hold on. Now go ahead. You can put a title screen. Obviously, I didn't. But go ahead, and when you log in, you're going to see to put in your name and select the team. We got Sue. We got John. We got BK. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Is there anyone else?
I'm almost there.
Okay, take your time. When we first started doing this, I was worrying. When we first started coming up, I go, my God, are people going to know how to use a QR code? COVID took care of that question. Okay, so here we go. Here is the board. And we have nerd knowledge. This is all things that are about nerdy stuff, obviously. We have the arts and we have the sports. Let's see who's going to start first. We're going to have the random selection, and you're going to have to just speak up. Who's on the South team?
Sue and
Yvette.
Okay, Yvette, go ahead. Give me a category and point value, please.
Sports for 200.
Okay, now before I do that, if you look at your screen, you should see a gray button. Yes? When
Yes.
I have read the question, I'm going to let you ring in and it will turn green. All you have to do is touch it. So sports for 100, you said?
Sure.
she said.
Okay, great. So who proclaimed I am the greatest after defeating Sonny Liston for the world heavyweight title? Go ahead and ring in. John, yes. What is the answer?
Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay.
That is exactly. Oh, that's very good.
Wow.
Good job, John.
John was not taking any chances that it would be one or the other. I like that, John. So let's go back to the board. John, you got the orange dot. You're still in control. Give me a point value and a number.
Let's go nerd knowledge for 400.
Nerd knowledge for John has got a lot of confidence in himself. Torchwood was an anagram for a spin-off of what popular British sci-fi series?
Mm.
Go ahead. You got 4 seconds. No one wants to answer. That's fine. Oh, Yvette, you came in. What is it?
Just a guess. Murder, She Wrote?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not. Anyone else? No, the correct answer was Doctor Who.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, let's go.
Sorry,
Go
team.
into.
You're all good. It's all good.
Yeah. So let's do one more that I'm going to show you how I'm controlling the game. Anyone else wants it? Let's say North. Go ahead, give me something.
How about, it says Melanie, arts for 100?
Okay, here it is. What a Wonderful World was a jazz song first recorded by which American singer? Sue.
Louis Armstrong.
That is correct. Good job. So let me show you how I'm controlling this game. And I just shared the same screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, do you see this?
Yeah.
Yes.
This is how I'm going to do it. And let me bring up the preview screen. This is what the audience is looking at. So, Sue, go ahead. Give me a category and point value.
Oh, arts for 200.
Arts for 200. Here's the question. Now, you'll notice that on this screen, what the audience is looking at is just showing the question. Here, I can see the question and the answer. So that's great if I don't know the material that well. I can see what the correct answer is. So I'm now going to enable ring-in. You should see a green dot. Go ahead. Gee, Sarah, let's see. Can you read successfully?
We have our standby.
What's that?
Still at
I
standby.
ran in.
No, Sarah is ringing in right there.
Oh, maybe that's why. Okay.
I just did it very quickly. So while
Did you say Wally World?
I did.
That's correct. Okay. Now, what I wanted you to know is that when you rang in, not only did it show your team, but it also showed the name of the person ringing in. Okay. So that's how that is done. There's a bunch of other things, features that we have. We have a soundboard. Let's see. That I don't know if, yeah, because the sound's not working. You can import a bunch of sounds, music, sound effects, or whatever, even sounds that could go with a question, and you can play that anytime during the game.
Will video work, Dan?
No, we don't have video yet.
Okay,
No.
have-
Just right now, pictures, graphics,
okay.
and so on. And you can edit the scores. We just thought through everything of what you need to do.
Right.
So
How
with
hard is
that,
it, Dan, for folks who are just coming to this, who haven't like lived with it, how long do you find it usually takes folks to get up to speed with it? Is it like, I mean, it looks intuitive to me, but I also feel like there's so many nuances of all that you can do that I'm sure it takes a little bit.
it takes a little bit, but my experience is the hardest part is writing the answers or writing the questions and answers.
Okay.
Once you get that down, then it is very intuitive. And by the way, we have video help on every single screen you run into, and the video will walk you through what that screen is.
Okay.
Okay.
Dan,
So
I
we help
have a
you.
question.
Plus, we do a really good onboarding. We'll help you build out the first game. So you'll be in good hands going forward. But we tried to take that, we tried to go with both, make it simple to use, but full featured. And that's what our focus has been.
Right.
So with that, I'm
Melanie,
going
I
to
think might have another question. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question, it's Melanie. Yeah, I create a PowerPoint for our facilitators. We have 7 and they travel across the country, and I have one PowerPoint that they all use. Could they use that? If I put this in that one PowerPoint, could they all use it, or does it not work that way?
what you need to do is you need to have the game show
Sorry,
program itself.
could you repeat that question? I could barely hear Melanie.
Oh,
I
sure.
don't know if she can,
Is that better? I'll say a little bit louder.
yeah.
Okay. So I have 7 facilitators that travel across the country, and they use one PowerPoint that I've written. I'm an instructional designer. And my question to Dan was, can all 7 of them use this game in that one PowerPoint? And Dan was just about to answer. So
Yeah. And the answer is the game does not run in PowerPoint. You just create the questions in PowerPoint. The game is a separate program, and they would need to have it on their computer.
gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are those separate licenses though, Dan, or do you have like for Melanie's team, is there some way we could, does she need 7 licenses or how would that?
She would normally need 7 licenses, but we can also set up an enterprise or a site license on it and make it
Okay.
work for her.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. That sounds good.
But on the other hand, if you're programming it on one computer and you in your training room you have a separate computer, you can put them both on there. We're not gonna, scream about that, and that is only fair.
Okay.
Now, the other thing which is nice about it is because the Game Show Pro PowerPoint, you don't need to have Game Show Pro to create the questions. You can send them out to other people to source the questions and then do it that way.
Yeah, because they would not be creating the questions or the answers or putting the pictures on there. I would
Yeah.
have to definitely do that. So I would
Yeah.
do that all in PowerPoint. And
You
then
do it in
send out.
PowerPoint and then you import it right into Game Show Pro. Now, the nice thing about it is the program makes it really easy to do training because, the trainer can maintain his energy. It's fun for both the trainer and the students. And it really, what we found out is that it makes it people, if they're good, they become better using Game Show Pro to help training because they don't have to worry about the audience being engaged.
Yeah, I think this will help. We have a lot of legal questions and answers, and I think this could make it a lot more interesting. Would they, one more question, Dan, sorry. Would they have to get out of PowerPoint, because they're in PowerPoint, it's like 100 and some odd slides. So they would get out of PowerPoint and then they would open the Game Show Pro and then start the game. Is that what
That's
they would
exactly what you do
Okay.
it. But
Okay.
we also, are they on PCs or Mac?
PCs, they'll have
Okay.
laptops with them.
That's fine. What we can do is we've got it set up so that we set it up for a client and it works great. You can go PowerPoint and then push a button and now you're into Game Show Pro, push another button in PowerPoint. Does that make sense?
Yep, that's exactly what we would need. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
and it goes and slides back and forth. And I don't have the remote in front of me. In fact, yeah, here it is. You can also give them these remotes. It's actually from Microsoft.
Oh, yeah, yep.
And they can actually switch from one screen to the other using these remotes. So if they're out there, and you can, by the way, also run Game Show Pro, like the all play game that you saw at the beginning. You can run it all from your remote, but it depends on how you want to do it. But we can work with you on that.
Great, thank you.
So
That
go ahead.
has a question as well, Dan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so how many games come in your program? Or is it just the one?
Right. Yeah, no, there's 3 different games. Let me go back to sharing my screen. And what we have is 3 games, four games actually. Categories, which is a Jeopardy-style game. All Play, which is the game that all of you played on teams and competed. We also have Family Feud, which is a great training game, but like you could do like, what are the 4 steps to doing this? Or, what are the 3 things you have to watch out for? Things like that. And then we have a new game that was just coming out. It's in beta still. Right now it's called Quiz Factory. And this is what I was referring to about the American Waterworks Association. This was their game. And if you want, I can show you how that plays. You want me to show you that quickly?
Yes, I'm actually familiar with, I also work in the water industry. And
Oh, yeah?
I am very familiar with the American Waterworks Association.
Okay, great. So what happened was they used to use our game to play Jeopardy. So we'll just call this the Iowa game. They used our game. Hold on. We'll just test. Okay. So what happened was they always used to use Jeopardy to play their game. It's called Top Ops, and people from around the country would compete at their convention. And the thing is that they were trained to play Jeopardy. And the trouble with Jeopardy is that, one, you got to be really a fast reader or have quick responses. And it's not really fair for people whose English is their second language. Does that make sense? So what we did was we worked with them and developed this game. And I am going to load in some questions. Just one second. I think.
While you're doing that, I just also wanted to mention that one of the other nice things about, as you were saying before, about being able to pull in PowerPoint questions from all different places is that you can have participants set up in teams, create a category of questions, and kind of then use that. So it becomes another way to add participation into your training. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a great point. And so here are the questions. You can see, obviously, I pulled them in from Jeopardy. So we can have, now, here's how the game works and how we got it set up for Iowa. They usually have 3 teams. So you can go ahead and give them names and colors. But this is what's unique about this game. And that is you can go ahead and basically, it's just an open game and you can create a lot of different scenarios. But what we had originally with them was, are you familiar with the AWA game? How they play it?
No, but I do use the Jeopardy game.
Okay.
For my operators class.
Oh, cool. So what they have is what we set up was different scoring sets. So this could be, so what they regular had was they had regular questions, which we called regular questions. And then we also had math questions. And if they got the regular questions right, they got 2 points. If they got it wrong, they got -1 and 1. But the way they have this game set up is you could choose to pass. And I'm going to go and explain this in a second. They also had math questions, which were rated at higher. They were true if they got it wrong. They still could pass, but they would give them 15 seconds. Okay. And those were the 2 types of questions. Now you can create whatever scenario you want. So we won't bother going into here now, but we're going to go ahead and play. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the game from my point of view.
Sounds great.
Okay. So here's the questions. And here are the scoring and timers. Now, at any point when I switch from one to the other, it will now take on that point value. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, the new versions of software, when it comes out later this summer, all the questions are going to have info screens. So when you type in info on your question, like, in PowerPoint, you got the little box where you can type in notes. What it will do is it'll take whatever is in the notes and place it here, which is just a nice thing for trainers, right?
Yes.
So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring up my preview screen. Again, this is what the audience is looking at. So here's the first question. And what you do is you start the timer. Now, by the way, how it was in AWA and how we would recommend you can do something like this is that each team had 2 people and they had a whiteboard, a small whiteboard, but you can use those whiteboards that you guys sell, Trainers Warehouse, right? And what they do is when they see the question, they put their heads together and they wrote out the answer. So I start off the timer runs. And what they would be doing is they'd be trying to figure out what the correct answer is. All 3 teams answer this simultaneously. You don't have to ring in, there's no pressure. You show, and then you go ahead and present the answers, and they all presented it. And so if it was right, you marked it right. If it was wrong, and let's say the 3rd team just didn't want to try and they just passed. Okay. Very simple format, but really good for doing essay type questions where the people have to sit down and work out situations and so on, and then present it verbally. Now, you can also do it something like this. And by the way, this is an info screen. It talks about Louis Armstrong. But let's take a look at this. Well, you could say, find the 4 typos in this sentence. And you have the timer. And then we'll just end the time early and judge. And then you go to the first team. Go ahead, give me a typo that you saw. And they said, well, exercise is spelled wrong. So great. Then you go to team 2 and you say, find another typo that was in there. And they would go ahead and say, you know. And then the third one, did someone want to see a typo?
Yeah,
Anyone?
capital H.
Yes. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and give that to you. And then that would be the scoring. And then you can go ahead. Oh, we should have it. I would have had a slide that came up. I didn't have it. Would have had a slide that came up that showed what the incorrect answer was. I brought in the wrong one. So that is basically this new game. And we're excited about it because and we're coming up with a lot of scenarios, but this is just a nice open frame game that you can use with the whiteboard. What are those called, Sue?
Answer boards. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Answer board.
nice is that all of these games, it seems like, can be used both in person, online, or hybrid, which is really kind of nice.
So,
So how would you use the whiteboard or the answer board if it's hybrid?
If people are in class, I assume you can give them boards you could, if they're remote, you could have them just writing on paper.
On chat or,
Yeah, you could do it in chat as long as it goes just to you and not to everyone else.
oh, gotcha. Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Great.
Thanks. Are there any other questions? The last one was Family Feud, which is a great game.
Can you show us how that Family Feud works?
The Family Feud?
Yes.
Absolutely. We'll just go ahead and play the game. The setup is consistent through all the games. So you have that. Let me go to Classroom Feud. I should clean out this. Where is the Classroom Feud? Anybody see it? There it is, Feud. So we're going to just jump into playing the game. We'll play it offline. Can anybody guess what the question is?
What show is this from?
We got Larry, Curly, and Moe. The question
The
is,
Three
name the
Stooges.
Three Stooges. But basically, here's how it goes. Again, the audience is looking at this. You display the board, and you show the question. Name the Three Stooges. Let's say the Pig family ring in first. Oh, sorry about this.
Oh my. Is it
Normally what you would hear is a pig snort. I was playing around and I replaced it by accident. Sorry. Which is just to show you when you can ring in, you can have whatever sounds you want to. So you would normally have heard a pig snort.
Okay.
And let's say they say it's Larry. Booyah! Larry. And now they can say, okay, we're going to try and answer the other ones. You give them control. And supposing they say, Curly.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
And by the way, those sounds, are you hearing the sounds at all?
Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know. Yes.
Those sounds, by the way, you can also have humorous sounds. We have that toggle going there, which some people like. If they're wrong,
I'm
twice,
sorry.
and if it's three
Wrong
times
answer.
wrong, then the cow family get to guess.
So you have sounds loaded in, but I assume people can also import their own sounds.
I was going to ask that too.
Yeah, for the question and answer for the right wrong sounds,
Yeah.
we have two options. We have normal and humorous. But you can go ahead and create, well, since I'm hearing sounds here, I can okay, so here are some sounds that you can do. So like let's say a team is behind and all of a sudden they came up, and now leading, you can play a okay. If you wanted to do an opening music to get people going, you can do a okay, let's play the game, and so on. You can even control it by, you don't have to bring up the box, you control it right from your keyboard. This was just something we built in because if you can make it more fun, why not?
Yeah. Good.
Now these, you can put in any sounds you want.
And are they on a special timing? I mean, how long does the sound last?
As long as you want, you can put it on a loop.
Okay.
Yeah. And you just push escape to quiet down, which you can imagine in some cases is a good idea.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Just really great questions. Does anyone have any other questions they want to ask?
I'm all set. Thank you so much. This was super informative. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, let me formally then, I'm going to just stop your share here, Dan, and say from all of us at Trainers Warehouse, thank you, Dan, for doing this. I know we have another one coming up soon in a few weeks. So if anything comes up and you want to join us again, great. or if you feel like you've seen it, that's all good too. But I feel like each time I see it, I kind of am able to absorb more and more. So Dan, thank you for this. And thanks to everybody for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
I got a lot to
Good
think
day.
about. Thank you.